From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening on Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more stimulus checks. And then we can cut to the recon. Done, deal, and passed. The tow truck has nearly passed over the finish line. The recon procedural passed this morning in less than 11 hours. I'll explain what happened as well. And why $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people, including you. It's incredible great news. It's the second half of this video. Then we turn to the voting. The voting is heading to the House, and I'll go over the date of the House and everything you need to know as Steny Hoyer calls them back into session. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime, and this is the SSI and SDI reform that you were waiting for. It's just a few days away. And then we cut to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And now viewers getting over $32,000 and $50,000 for this channel. I'll show you how you get this big money in a big evenings broadcast starting right here, right now, direct from Santa Monica this beautiful evening, starting this very moment. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful evening across the board and hope your weather is wonderful. It's been spectacular here today. Last night, I was out by the beach, actually in one of the spaces that you see in the opening credits. I was right there, and it was cold. It was like in the 50s, low 50s. During the daytime, it's in the mid 70s. It's just perfect weather. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this first stimulus check update, we go over the great news as the recon has passed. The recon has passed the Senate in step one of the entire credible process. I'll have all the details for you in this recording and why, in this first stimulus check update of 2021, the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. As it's now passed, the tow truck is nearly over the finish line. Time to soon to get the tow hitch. I'll have all the new dates across the board. And then we cut to the voting process. When does the tow hitch get hitched onto the tow truck? I have all the breaking news happening just tonight on Evenings LA. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime with SSI and SSDI VA benefits going up. I'll explain the details about that and more. And then we cut to the big money across the board as viewers were getting upwards of $32,000 from this channel, but now viewers are getting upwards of $50,000, and I'll show you how you get this big money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Sirloin. Well, right after this is actually Overnight's Crypto, then Sirloin at 8 o'clock. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers of YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 3,000 likes. Never forget to like a video. For some reason, the Evenings LA viewers have been forgetting to hit that like button. So you especially hit that like button and also consider becoming a Purple Hawk. More about membership and the Purple Hawks coming up later in this video. But let's get into that monthly stimulus check. Senate versus House. House versus Senate starting right now. They're both monthly stimulus checks, but they're slightly different when you look out at the payouts and the number checks. House versus Senate. House is a monthly stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senate is July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House is $1,000 after the first month. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. You know, everything is changing so quickly. Now vaccination cards, now vaccine mandates, everything is changing very quickly because of Delta and Delta Plus. In fact, Southwest Airlines gave new earnings guidance today saying they're seeing an uptick of cancellation of flights and less bookings because of the fall and the concerns about Delta. That means that the House bill would likely pay the full amount of checks, which would be more than 12 checks, which would be more than 1 year for the House, which would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Vote right now. House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Well, who gets this first stimulus check? Democrats represent that you do. If you single individual, 75,000 less, Democrats represent you get a first stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 less, Democrats represent you get a first stimulus check, double it. Family of four, Democrats represent you get a first stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, VA, or more, Democrats represent you get a first stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The forced stimulus check would be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. And the forced stimulus check is not a waivable check. If you're at the Dodgers game and you see the wave coming through the stadium and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, here comes the wave. Hey, and then we go back down. And then you look, oh, there's the check. How come the check did not stand for the Dodgers wave? You look over to check, say, hi, check, how are you? You didn't do the Dodgers wave. Rude check. No, it's not a root check. It's not a waivable check. It's also a Giants fan. Can we top that? Yes, we can. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over the deal. Done. I told you it was a done deal for the $3.5 trillion stimulus package. Well, I was right. It took just a few minutes for them to get it done. In fact, quicker than anyone thought. And in fact, done exactly like I had predicted, as to exhaustive people having never really worked a lot in their life. After a couple of weeks of sort of finally working a few days in their life, they were just done. So they passed it. I go over that in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the incredible details of what's coming up next. I told you Steny Hoyer would have something to say as soon as the recon passed. He did, and that is regarding the House coming back. So I'll go over what's going on with the House and your recon. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits lifetime. But boy, let's get some money, get a pen and paper ready. I want to get you some rent, some utilities, some food, and some internet, and it's starting right now. When I first started recording this a few weeks ago, I said for rent, I could get you about 4 to 6 months of rent, about $5,000. And then you did this. You got more than $5,000. Oh boy, yes you did. You got $27,000. Incredible. Elizabeth, a viewer of this channel, Purple Hawk member, and other Purple Hawk members are getting enormous sums of money. Look at this rent. Elizabeth got $27,000, Mark $25,000, Nancy $24,000, Richard $22,000, and Nacy $20,000 for rent. If you got success stories to tell me, send them to me on private messaging on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Here comes some more of the success stories. Pamela, $12,000 on rent, she tells me. Carla got multiple items. Tiffany tells me she got $13,000 for rent and 2 other items. Randy tells me he got $6,000 for rent and other items. Jennifer tells me she got $5,000 for rent and other items. And Cecilia got some heat. Let's turn to utilities, which is water, gas, heating oil. Initially, I thought viewers can get $300 from my videos. Guess what? They got $7,000. Wow. Mark got $6,500 for utilities across the board as a Purple Hawk and viewer of this channel. And then Angela got $5,000. And then when we turn to SNAP, which is money for food. Money for food, I said maybe $5,000 to $6,000 a SNAP. OMG. Are you ready for this one? Let's see the graphic. Boy, Louie got $18,000. Incredible, great news, Louie. Congratulations. John got $10,000 to $12,000 for SNAP, and Nancy $5,000. And finally, for the people who got multiple sums of money, can we see their success story? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, bam. Wow. Nancy got $32,000 for rent, utilities, and SNAP. Nisi got $23,000 for rent, utilities, and SNAP. And Mark got $32,000 for rent and utilities. And boy, there we go. But suddenly I made a revelation that I had a revelation that Mark only got 2 items. And so for 7 days on camera, I said to Mark, wait a second, Mark, how come you've not gotten SNAP? Because, you know, it's another item out there. Go get SNAP. SNAP is easy to get. And so he then went and got SNAP. Do you think he got $5,000 for SNAP? Do you think he got $400 for SNAP? How much do you think he got? 8,000? That's what I thought. I thought maybe he was going to get 8,000, bring it to 40,000. No, he didn't. Mark got $19,000 for SNAP, bringing his grand total on this channel to $50,000. And that, my friends, is Mark, and this is LALATE. We've been doing this since day one, and so this is no different. In March of last year, or April last year, this channel launched because people's EIDL loans and EIDL grants are not being approved. So I've stepped in and off camera and on camera, I was doing applications, helping applications get approved that were stalled up. And sometimes I was getting 10 applications approved daily that had been stalled. 150,000 a pop sometimes. And we got $25 million of EIDL loans approved. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus is not coming, so I stepped in. I got viewers $250,000 of rent under Purple. Got viewers like Tyrone, his family 4 out of Boston, $15,000 of rent, paid all his rent till the next year, December to March. And now we're doing it again. The only difference is you're getting bigger numbers than we've ever seen. I think at this point we may be doing over $250,000 a week. I mean, it's just incredible. So if you just found this channel, welcome. If you're a reoccurring viewer and you've never got to this money, today's your day. And if you got one sum of money, I'm going to get you the other sums of money. Let's get the money right now. Get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to get you some rent, some utilities, some mortgage assistance, and homeowners assistance. I'm going to teach you how to get the money yourself. So you're going to reach out yourself to 6 different places. Each place has different eligibility. If you reach out to one you hear no, reach out to the next. Keep on reaching until you get a yes. I have done this in every state, and there's not a single state that the answer is no. So keep on pushing. They all have their own eligibility. They all have their own pots of money. And finally, listen to the keywords I say in this video. Viewers tell me it really helps. Are you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. That's it. Very simple. You're not going to say words they don't know, like stimulus, or Ron Portman's wonderful time as the Masked Singer. Yeah. What was his mask of? I don't want to get in trouble. There you go. I was going to say something. I'm just not going to say it. And there you go. Can we talk? I'm still having the visual of Ron Portman. Even Ron Wyden on The Masked Singer. Imagine Ron Wyden coming out of The Masked Singer and be like, oh, of course it's Ron Wyden. Who else is like 10'9", 9'9" tall senator? There's no one that tall. Who's a senator? It just sort of gives it away. That's why he's not on The Masked Singer. So can we top that? Yes. If you got rent utilities in the live chat, post it right now. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this big money for rent utilities. Let's turn now to Snap. Snap is money for food. How do you get it? You get it from Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. Mark got $19,000. Louis got $18,000. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and a mom, and Gail got it. And how much does it pay? A lot. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. We're killing it. You're killing it. We've gotten $27,000 for rent. We've gotten $19,000 for SNAP. We've gotten $9,000 for utilities, and we're just getting started. We're only 12 minutes of this video. Well, the next pot of the money is the incredible refund check coming back from your state due to overpayment on unemployment benefits and a computer error. Well, the federal government has ordered the return of the money back to you. Where's it landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah. Contact your state. Say, hi, state. Where's that check due to overpayment and a computer error? And can you track it by turning on a computer? Just sort of have to turn on the computer to track it. Can we top that? Yes. As we go into the final pot of the money, and that is that refund check coming back from IRS. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. It's incredible, great news. Where is it landing? It's landing by direct deposit. Let's go over everything about it. First, it's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. I know those words just make you grow hair that you just maybe don't have on the head. It's a waivable check, and the waivable check is coming every week this summer. Average payout is about $1,250. About $1,300, and there's a direct deposit and a mail check every week. More about that in a second, but first let's turn to a personal message. If you're on the live chat and you've gotten rent to utilities, post your success story, whether it's $100 or $10. If you've gotten SNAP, post your success stories, and you've gotten utilities as well. Why? Because this channel is about me helping you and you helping others. And every time you post your success story in the live chat, it helps other people. You know, on the first afternoon to LA, the 1 o'clock edition today, I saw as the show started, even before the show was starting, with the countdown ball, people were saying, I need help finding rent. I need help finding utilities. It was wonderful. So people were immediately turning to other people to get guidance as to how to do things. That's the spirit of the Purple Power. And people are answering the question, of course. So let's go over why this is so important for you to post your success stories. First, you inspire other people. So if they see these numbers, then they realize, wait a second, I have rent. Let me apply so I can get my rent paid. And then some people never thought of having their utilities paid. Other people have never heard of the word SNAP. I have a lot of people who got Snap, having never heard of it before on this channel, like Larry Maui early on had never heard of Snap and got an enormous amount of Snap because of my view of my channel. Then we have people who had gotten one item but never got 3 items, and they're inspired by Nisi and Art Sullivan, who got 3. Nancy went out and got 3. You saw Mark, he had 2. He got inspired by my message on air saying, Mark, go get the 3rd, and he got it. He got to 50,000. And finally, it updates us about the number. All right, let's cut back to those unemployment benefits. How much is it going to be? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah. Do it, go to irs.gov and track it with their website, irs.gov. 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. It'll also reveal some stuff that you never wanted to know. Like when Ron Portman was on The Masked Singer. Was Mitch McConnell his stylist? And finally, can we top that? Yes, as we go into the second half of this video. Yes, as the IRS refund portal will also potentially reveal the refund check coming back to you and its date 70% of the time. And we can. As we go into the second part of this Forced Stimulus Check Update 2021, starting right now. Deal done. That's what I have been saying for over 2 weeks. Deal done as to the recon amount, $3.5 trillion. I had told you that the Democrats had met in caucus mode and had agreed to a $3.5 trillion package, and that all they had to do was basically call the vote and approve it. And they did. Overnight, in just an 11-hour vote-a-rama that was slated to go for 50 hours, they were able to get it done. And now $3.5 trillion are slated to come to the American people. Previous stimulus packages, first, second, and third, were large, but this is much larger, leaving a lot of space to do stimulus checks. Moreover, the previous stimulus packages were nearly, sometimes 90% for corporate America. This one is nearly 99% for you, for the American people. And so there's a lot of room to put stimulus packages in there. So how did they achieve this? Originally, the recon had roads and bridges in there, and they shrunk the recon by taking those roads and bridges out and putting it into the bipartisan, making the recon passable, and that's why it passed overnight. And the conservative publication confirms my reporting that says the following, that the bigger the price tag was initially on the recon, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put it into the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Well, now they've both passed. The recon they both made one another passable, and they have both passed the U.S. Senate. How did they do this? By shrinking the recon, the progressives were able to build it out to a big price tag they wanted. The progressives, both for the House and the Senate, were meeting with the White House daily to ensure that they got a big enough price tag they wanted. That progressive caucus met daily, and they got it. $3.5 trillion passed. Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, progressive, said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, passed, $3.5 trillion. And also, Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we like it, a larger recon. You got it, $3.5 trillion, done. So what next did the progressives do? Once the recon bid shrunk, they were able to build it back out and protect it. And they protected that recon as the president told them to. The president said that everything in that recon is progressive priorities protected. And that's what Schatz and Jolopal had said. Now, the White House told them that the progressive priorities in that recon are the White House's priorities. Protected. So what is a recon? One is a bipartisan. Let's go over that first to start, because broadcast media has been doing an atrocious, below par reporting of the bipartisan, the recon, over the last 2 days, swapping the names in and out and misapplying the numbers. First, recon. What is recon? That's your money. That's also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. The price tag is $3.5 trillion. People quote an article about it are at AOC or Bernie. Bipartisan is roads and bridges, also called infrastructure. Price tag $1.5 trillion. That is involving people like Kristen Sinema and Ron Portman and Mitt Romney. Okay, that's easy. So then the next question is, what is the difference between recon procedural and recon substantive? Recon procedural passed in the U.S. Senate this morning. And recon procedural is basically 2 questions. 1, do you agree at a later date you'll do a reconciliation bill with a total price tag of $3.5 trillion? Yes. Question number 2, do you agree that of the $3.5 trillion, it'll be separated among committees of the U.S. government at the following ratios? $10 to this committee of the government, $5 to that committee of the government? Yes, signed, done. That's recon procedural, and that was what was done in a final vote of the vote-a-rama this morning. What's recon substantive? Recon substantive then takes the recon procedural amounts and says, okay, subcommittee on nutrition got $10. Now you go write the legislation for what you're going to spend the $10 on. Who gets it, how they get it, when they get it, and all those details as well. That gets written up, and that becomes the recon substantive bill. Now, presumably, they've been writing this recon substantive bill over the last few weeks. Let me go over the details of how a recon bill, reconciliation substantive bill, is written. Under the Constitution, subcommittees are delegated subject matters like House Ways and Means responsible for stimulus checks and unemployment benefits, things like that. Those subcommittees are delegated those subject matters. When they're done writing them, let's say it's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages, they send those pages up to Chuck and he puts a big S on it for slow, Schumer, salty, seductive, so slow, super slow, no, for Senate. And that's your recon substantive bill. Now, along the way, they don't show us what they're writing, how they're writing, when they've been writing, when they've been taken out. So they may have likely been writing all along. We don't really know how much they've written yet. What they're given now under the recon procedural is how much money they are to write about. They're not given the subject, they're given recommendations about where to spend the money, but ultimately it's their determination. Those are just recommendations. Recon procedural is called non-binding, meaning that you're not binding the Department of Agriculture, the Committee of Agriculture, to spend the $10 on, school number 1 or $5 on school number 2. They can spend the money however they want, but there's simply recommendations in there. And there you go. So when they call that recon to a vote, it only needs recon substantive. It only needs Democrats to pass it, and those Democrats will. So how do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalopal, who recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote on that recon. Well, they did, and the recon passed. And that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of the 100-plus House Democrats, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus recon when it's finally written. Well, Purple Power, it's not finally written yet. So push and ensure these people keep their promises. Can we stop that? Yes. As the 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee recently wrote the president a letter saying, when we're finished writing forced stimulus recon, there will be a monthly forced stimulus check in there. Well, Purple Power, you need to push for these people and ensure they keep their promise as well. They promise they're going to put that in that recon when they write it. Can we top that? Yes. As Biden did it, he went overseas 7 weeks ago to get a global minimum corporate tax rate informally signed. The formal signature just a few days ago. Why is this great news? Because it makes it easier to finish writing the forced stimulus recon substantive. It doesn't need that provision in there. Make it easier. Write the recon substantive, call vote on it, and pass the recon substantive. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now, I'll be going over what happened this morning with this vote for the recon. Why was my reporting so spot on correct about how it was going to get passed, how quickly it was going to get passed, why going right behind the bipartisan the same day and the same week really helped us, and why was I also correct about how quickly Steny Hoyer in the House was going to respond to it by putting the House back into session. Then we'll go to the breaking news about Chuck Schumer and what he's doing for September and the recon substantive. And then finally, we'll cut to fiscal stimulus as well. But first, something wonderful. If you have had problems finding the rent, utilities, food, or internet, then reach out to the volunteers. Always try to find it yourself. Because trust me, you'd be surprised how powerful you can be when you push as a Purple Power. But if you can't find it, and you made the look, and you can't find it, don't worry, reach out to the volunteers. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description, you'll see a link to the community page with the volunteers. Their it's at news.la.com/community. It's in the description of this video. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click the link, it sends to the community page. On that page are pictures of kitty cats. They're not the volunteers. Lower on the page are the volunteers, and they'll reach out to them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and they'll get back to you. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as the big news continues on Evenings at LALATE. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on this Big Evenings LA broadcast as we go into the middle of the week with the incredible great news as the fourth stimulus recon procedural has passed the U.S. Senate. So next off the House, I'll go over all the breaking details in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. Then we got to fifth stimulus as well. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers to YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, and learn about all the incredible money you can get across the board. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Stay on this video. Automatically, it'll take you there right after this video is over. And then at 8 o'clock is Sir Lloyd. Meantime, let's cut to what the president promised and has not delivered, and that is the raise of your benefits of SSI, SSDI, and VA. He ran on a platform of this for president, did not deliver it. So guess what? The Democratic senators and House members say they're taking care of it in what's called fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus starts this September. And it starts by drafting out in September with the potential of going into your bank account by November and then the lift of your benefits in January. Let's analyze the details starting right now. First, they'll raise your benefit limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit. They'll apply the inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this calculates starting right now. Step one, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. That is if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad Benefits, Veterans Benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Step two, they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark will be inflation. When will they apply? In December. All today, it was as if people were watching me. Every broadcast channel was talking about transitory inflation. What is transitory? It means a temporary spike. When? In December. Oh, that's perfect. And how spikeful? How high is it spiking? I've been reporting it's going to go about 5%. I detailed this extensively on Afternoons LA last weekend. You can go watch those videos. Let's do the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the benchmark. If, let's say, we're at 5%, then you'll go up another plus 5%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. If the inflation rate after that is 2%, the year after that, then you'll be at plus 2, plus 5%. They're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now it's going to go away. And you'll be able to have some muddled, you'll be able to have some lavender in your hand and also some stimulus checks. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And the marriage penalty is going to go away. And you'll be able to do the pair dance at your own wedding, like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. Benefits will be restored if you've been married as well. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. They also represent there's going to be a fifth stimulus check as well. Meantime, if you notice people in the live chat that have a purple hawk emoji next to their name, what are you doing? You need to get one as well. Join here. Join on the video where it says join here. Become a member today. As becoming a member, you're delivered daily from me a breakdown of all the big money in the second, third, fourth, and fifth stimulus packages, because most of them are application-based. And that's how viewers who are members are getting these massive sums of money. They're watching the videos, they're getting all the information delivered daily to them as a purple hawk, and they're learning to pounce as a hawk. Hawk, hawk, and get that big money. Here's the reference point. In fall of 2020, no, let me back up actually. In spring of last year, this channel launched covering EIDL, but not covering this subject matter at all. And I saw a lot of people saying, what day in April am I getting the second stimulus check? I said, who told these people to be dependent upon the day the second stimulus check's coming? That's called financial dependence. You don't want to ever be dependent on one event, because guess what? The event may not happen that day. And it didn't. The second stimulus check did not come until January 2021, the next year. So people were dependent upon the arrival of the check. I said, no. So when I moved into the subject of the space in about December of last year, I said, well, there's going to now be a second stimulus check, $600, but don't focus on it. Don't be dependent upon it. I want you to get the big other sums of money that are available under second stimulus so that you're financially independent. And viewers like Tyrone got $15,000 for his family for out of Boston, paying all their rent from December to the spring. He alleviated all of his independence. It created all his independence for rent because they are now paid from the federal government. In January this year, I launched Purple Hawks, to describe people who pounce and get big money under third stimulus. Because at the time I said there's going to be a $1,400 stimulus check. You'll get it, you'll spend it, and then you'll say, I need another check. I just used that one up. And there won't be another $1,400 stimulus check right away a few weeks later. So I said pounce and get the other money that's application-based in the third stimulus package. And that's what happened. Viewers understood that there's a lot of money in these third stimulus packages, and that's how they started pouncing, getting $32,000, $23,000, $50,000, even $10,000, $5,000. And that is how they realized how to be financially independent by watching this channel. Here's a reference point as well. The federal government knows you have some bills, and some they'll pay for and some they won't pay for. Let's say you have 7 bills. Let's say you have rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance, maybe medicine. And then you also have the car in the driveway needs new tires, and your daughter needs a new backpack for school. Well, the federal government's not going to pay for the backpack, and the federal government's not going to pay for the car. But the federal government will pay for the first 5 items. It'll pay for the rent and the utilities and the food and the medicine and the mortgage assistance and the homeowner assistance and the utilities. They'll pay for that. And so if you allow them to pay for those 5 items by applying for them, then suddenly you don't have to spend your money or your benefits checks or whatever on those bills. You become financially independent of those bills because those bills are no longer being paid by you. They're being paid by the federal government. And now you've freed up extra cash on hand for you to pay for that backpack and to fix that car. That's financial independence, and that's why you should become a member. The link's under this video as well. And with that, let's go into the final 15 starting right now. The final 15 minutes of this video, so much critical details and a lot of twists and turns happening in the last 24 hours. So let's go over each of them starting right now with a big update on Evenings LA. Number 1, the recon passed the U.S. Senate overnight. Let's go over the details. First, I have been telling you over the last 3 weeks, done deal. People were saying, how can you say done deal for the recon if it hasn't gone for a vote? It was very simple what I said, which was that the Democrats had met, senators had met, and agreed upon the price tag of $3.5 trillion, that all you were going to have to do is call the recon procedural vote, and they were going to do the same thing. And they did do the same thing. So there you go. That was number 1. Number 2, I had also told viewers that while we did have a desire to have the recon call for a vote in the Senate before the roads and bridges, I said there was an unusual benefit to this, of having the recon go after the roads and bridges, because the senators had been in session now for the longest Senate session in over a decade, had been working 7 days a week, 16-hour days, no breaks, over 85 years of age, and were exhausted. They were going on the record saying, I'm exhausted, I can't do any more. I said that exhaustion was going to help us because when they got to the recon procedural bill, they were not going to have much more energy to fight it off. And they didn't. The recon was supposed to go for a vote-a-rama of 50 hours. It barely even went to 11 hours. They all said, I'm done, I'm exhausted, let me go home. And it worked. So there was a real big benefit to that. I also told you that within minutes after the vote-a-rama would be passed, Steny Hoyer, who I specifically identified in the House, was going to order the House back into session. That happened as well. Steny Hoyer, as soon as the vote-a-rama passed the Senate early in the middle of the night, came out and said the House is back in session in just a few days. It's approximately August 27th. I announced it this morning as soon as the news broke. And that is quickly back into session. I told you it was going to be very quick. In fact, broadcast media said, it's a month earlier than they're supposed to be back. I said, no, we're expected to be back in session quickly. So there you go. And ironically, finally, the last thing I predicted, which was the false narratives from conservative media were going to circle. And ironically, after Evenings LA last night, they started to run the articles in the thick of the night that Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin were going to reduce during the vote-a-rama the recon from 3.5 trillion to as little as 2.5 trillion and block it. Neither event occurred. And they still have that article posted on their websites. Yeah, neither event occurred. And so there you go. So now let's turn to the process of first in time. Nancy Pelosi, Jalapa, and the president have your back on this. First, the president assures the American people he is not going to sign the roads and bridges into law unless the recon is ready to be signed into law. The president says that as the bipartisan, if only that comes to me, and that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it into law. It has to come with a recon in tandem. He also says, I'm not signing the bipartisan for getting the rest of the stuff I propose, the recon. Then Nancy confirms the details as well. Nancy says that she is not going to vote on the roads and bridges unless she has the recon ready as well. In fact, I use the word ain't. They ain't going to be bipartisan unless we have the recon bill passed by the U.S. Senate. Well, it's been passed for the procedural, so great news. And then Jalapal said that the House Democrats have Nancy's back. The overwhelming majority of our caucus says they're not going to vote on the bipartisan without the recon, so done deal. So here we go. Tow truck, tow hitch. Remember that? Yeah, the tow truck and tow hitch is back with us. Tow truck refers to the recon procedural. Tow hitch is the recon substantive. The tow truck is going over to the House and Nancy next to pass for the price tag of $3.5 trillion. What does the House do next with this recon procedural? Only two questions they have to address. Do you agree upon a $3.5 trillion price tag? Yes or no? Then, do you agree that each committee of the U.S. government gets this allotment of the $3.5 trillion? $10 to nutrition, $10 to labor? Yes, done. That's all they have to vote on. It's pretty simple. This is about as easy and basic as it is. That's why I said I never cover recon procedural too much on this channel, because it's very basic. And so at that point, once they prove that, the tow truck has passed over the finish line, the recon procedural. Now time to pick up the tow hitch, which is the recon substantive. At that point, they start to go back and get the recon substantive. So let's go over the recon substantive. So at the moment, there is the recon procedural has a line in there that basically says non-binding, meaning that when the nutrition committee, for example, has $10 allotted to them, they're not bound as to how to use the money under the recon procedural. Then in the next few days, they finalize the language of how they want to spend the money, and that goes to a vote. And that becomes recon substantive. Each of those subcommittees that are allocated money on a recon procedural say, okay, of the $10 I got, of the $20 I got, this is what I want to use the money for. They write it up, they put it up to Chuck Schumer for a vote, and it gets called to a vote on the Senate floor. We do have some of the recommendations of what is likely to slide in there. Free school meals for all, checks. Cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, election checks, internet checks, and lots of money for my seniors and my workers. Checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, checks for unions, checks for seniors, checks for lowering our eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. All right, so then what happens next? Well, Schumer gave us an announcement late today that the recon substantive needs to be in his hands ready for a vote by September 15th. That means that all those subcommittees, which presumably have been writing all along, I know I may have been a little bit confused. I may have run with a story which I probably should not have run yesterday, where one article said that maybe they had not started writing the recon. I don't think that, and I repeated on camera, I probably should not have, because there's no indication that they have not started. That article just went an extra step by presuming people had not been writing anything. I think they have been writing stuff, and that's what that's what I've been showing you all along, is that these subcommittees in the House are not supposed to show you what they're writing, and not supposed to show you what they're taking away. But the final finality of their writing is due by September 15th. We learned that from Schumer late today. And so when they present to Schumer what they've written by September 15th, that's the recon substantive bill. And with that, that then goes to a vote. That can get modified, and that goes over to the Senate, and that can get modified. That does not go through a vote-a-rama, is the way it looks at the moment. And there you go. So let's recap where we are, because I know that's a lot of details in just a short video. First, the recon procedural has passed the U.S. Senate. Next up is the House. When? In just a few days, in late August. Likely to pass to the House very quickly, but the only issues they're deciding are the total price tag and the allotment of the money between the subcommittees. When that is approved by the House, then the tow truck has passed over the finish line. The recon procedure has passed. Now time to go pick up the tow hitch. That's what really goes into the substance of the whole box. That is when, on September 15th, Chuck Schumer calls the vote, as he represents, on the language of what is the recon substantive. At that point, you don't need a single Republican to vote in favor of it because of the reconciliation process. Because they have now, quote, unlocked the recon process, they're able to do this incredible process without a need of a single Republican vote. And that voting starts on September 15th. Meantime, fifth stimulus will start to overlap because they will start to work on fifth stimulus. And that will go to a later timeline by about November. Yes, you can do a lot of different recons at the same time. And so a lot of different things happening across the board. Meantime, we're expected to see more details about this in the next few days. And we're expected to see a lot of surprises potentially by the weekend. Finally, I fully expect that the false negative print conservative media are going to continue to run these articles. I'm starting to see them percolate, which is, okay, it passed the recon, but it's going to fail. It's just not going to happen. They just sort of want to run something that's just never going to happen. So the recon's going to pass. But Purple Power, you got to push. These people have made promises to you about what they want to give you. You got to push, because now they're riding. Now is the riding time. And now is the time to push to ensure they do everything they promise. Meantime, stay with this channel, because in the next few days you can see some surprises. Yes, some big surprises. You're going to see some new programming coming to this channel, so you have more financial independence. You've been really receptive in Overnight Crypto, which continues night after night to really break the records of viewership on this channel. That show starts right after this video, but you're going to see stock coverage coming to this channel and more ways for you to make money. Easy breezy from beginners to advanced across the board. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to follow this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto starting right now. And then, coming up at 8 o'clock is Sirloin. Stay informed, stay focused, subscribe, like the video. Don't forget to like the video. And consider becoming a member so you get financial independence across the board and learn about all this big money you are entitled to get. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Ally for Money.